call the Town of Nashville Planning Board meeting for Tuesday, March 24th to order. I show members Davis, Evans, Strickland, Harper, and Sears present. We have a quorum. First order of business is the minutes from the January 20 meeting. They've been distributed to all members. Is there any reason to cause a change? The meetings is published, the minutes is published. If not, I'll entertain a motion to accept the meetings for January 20 at this time. Have a motion?
Second.
I have a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. Those minutes are approved. The February 24th meeting, those minutes have been published to the board. Are there any corrections or notations for those minutes? There are none. I'll entertain a motion to accept those minutes as written.
I'll make a motion that we accept those minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Davis. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
I have a second from Mr. Evans. All in favor?
Aye.
It is unanimously passed. Sean, we're ready to move now to conditional rezoning. I believe we're going to go to 2026-02.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. Can we get a motion to amend the agenda to start that way first?
Yes, sir. So staff has asked that we move at 2602 first. That is the convenience store located on First Street, and let's hear 608 Western Avenue second, as one of the witnesses in that case is not present but on the way. Do I have a motion to change the agenda, to rotate the order?
I made a motion.
I have a motion from Mr. Evans,
I second that.
Mr. Harper second. All in favor?
Aye.
It's unanimous. Go right ahead, Sean.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Board, as you can see, we have with us tonight the rezoning case for conditional zoning for the two parcels of land. I'm gonna probably call it 802 South Break Street, but it's not that property. It's actually the two properties behind 802 South Break Street. The applicant is represented tonight by Kevin Varnell with Stocks Engineering Firm. They have submitted to rezone this property from R10, parcel 005959, parcel 003296, from R10 to conditional zoning non-residential B1 for the only one allowed use in that district, convenience store without fuel pumps per the table allowed use of the town of Nashville. As the board knows, conditional zonings, we can put conditions on it if we find it necessary. If you turn in your packet on page number 2 behind your agenda sheet, you will see Exhibit A that was submitted by Mr. Varnell's team. That is the meets and bounds of the property. Same thing with Exhibit 2, Parcel 2. That will be the one closest to the 58 quarter. Page number 4 in your packet, you'll see the property from Nash County GIS showing the two properties that are asking to be rezoned. Same thing in number 5, the Nash County GIS page. If you turn to number 6, we had to send this out within a 500-foot radius. As you can see from your packet, everybody that was in a 500-foot radius that received notification from the town. We also have provided you the mailing list of everybody that received notification.
Got it. Even sure everyone's in the loop, so your bases are covered.
Even ChatGPT say I'm right. If you look at, that is good for the soul, y'all. If you look at February 19, 2026 is when we sent out a notice to the neighbors to let them know about the conditional rezoning of the store, what the two parts behind the store, from conditional zoning non-residential B1 to convenience store without fuel pump sales. We also sent a attachment out with our letter from the town for the community meeting that was held on the next page. That's a copy of that was sent out to all the residents within that 500-foot radius. After the community meeting, we thought it would be best to send an additional notice out. We don't have to do this by the town laws or so how we send out our notification. But coming back from that meeting, we just didn't want people to get confused thinking that was the meeting and not tonight, and also not the one on May 5th for the town council. So this is why a second notice was sent out, and we probably will send out a third notice after the decision is made tonight, whether approve or deny, to let everybody know to come on the May 5th meeting. If you turn over the next page of your packet, you'll see the certification that notes to property owners. This right here is a notification that we present to the board, letting you know that on both dates of February the 19th and March 6th, the town of Nashville did send out notifications to everybody that was supposed to be notified per the applicant's submittal of Stocks Engineering. Same thing on page number 6. That's the one for the March 6th notice that we sent out. We did have a community meeting on March the 5th. These are the notes from the community meeting. I will read through them very briefly, but this is what was presented from Stocks Engineering when Mr. Barnell came up to present to the public about the community meeting for this rezoning. Mr. Barnell, would you want me to say that for your portion of the agenda?
I got it on mine.
Okay, I will say that for Mr. Barnell board, but that's in your packet, and Mr. Barnell will have you reference back to that once he gets going on his portion of the packet. If you turn to your next page in the packet, that is everybody who showed up to the community meeting that night. We had 31 participants out of everybody we sent letters to that showed up. And now the applicant also has asked that we submit the police reports. So in your packet, in the end of your packet, you have the police reports for the Food Line, Walmart, L&L, the Piggly Wiggly, of all police reports that have been conducted on this property from the past 3 years, taken from February 23rd, 2024, past 2 years, to February 23rd, 2026. Now, board, I will go over to our next item. The reason why this request is brought back to us is because, number one, we did vote, and you see your statement consistency in there from our last meeting that was held on August 26, 2025. This matter was brought to the planning board. The planning board that evening did vote to deny rezoning request 2025-07, stated it was not consistent with the town of Nashville land use plan. They also stated that they did not think this was favorable for our land use plan. That's why a vote of denial was made by the board. That vote passed unanimously. Only reason why this is not a year cool out period is because when this went to the town council, it did not make it. The applicant the following morning on September the 2nd sent an email that's in your packet also stating they wanted to just withdraw the rezoning request, go back, regroup, and see if they can come with a different route. And that's why we're back here today versus waiting the entire calendar year to bring it back to the board. Now we will turn over to the agenda report in your packet. And this is for conditional rezoning 2026-03 CZR B1. Is be heard by the planning board tonight, March 26th. It will be heard by the town council May 5th. Only reason why it is that long out is because we are in the midst of budget season. So the next couple of meetings we'll be having with town council, we'll be focusing on our budget, doing our budget retreat, budget work session. And we thought that this rezoning request, when it goes to council, needs to be on a night where we'll be taking care of more council items and not more budget items. But Kevin Barnell from Stocks Engineering is here to request the 2 vacant lots, parcel 003296, 005959, which is in the town of Nashville, be rezoned from R10 to conditional zoning non-residential business 1. The properties are located within the town of Nashville's limits and zoning jurisdictions. The property is owned by, and I may not say this correct, but I will try my best, Modular Empire LLC. If you look north of the property of the two he's asked to be rezoned, it is B1, the commercial store, 696 square foot store built in 1950. To the south of these two properties is R10, residential neighborhood. To the east, R10, residential neighborhood. To the west, R10, residential neighborhood. I take it the board knows what R10 is, so there's no need for us to go back down that road of what that district is. And the board has done plenty conditional zoning, non-residential and residential. I believe y'all know the definition of that, so there's no need to go back down that road. Our 2021 Nashville Comp Plan has these two properties slated as medium density residential. And according to our comp plan for medium density residential, single family detached homes, single family attached homes, and townhomes is what we're looking at for that district. What the applicant is proposing, the conditional rezoning non-residential B1 district is only one use. Of course, you know, in conditional zoning, you get to pick the uses you want. The applicant has only selected one: convenience store without fuel pump sales. And the subject property is 0.15, 0.19 acres, a total of 0.34 acres if the property is recombined into one. It has road frontage off South First Street and South Break Street. And as we stated, it's zone R10. And if you look at the next page in your packet, you will see the zoning map per the Nash County GIS. The 802 South Break Street is B1. To the south of it is the both two properties has to be rezoned CZNR B1. They are showing that they are R10. If we look at it from this standpoint, the subject property asked to be rezoned to CZNR B1 will not be contiguous with the adjacent zoning district of the zoning map, and it will be inconsistent with our future land use map. But we as the planning board and town council can vote against the land use map and say that we feel like this land should be rezoned this because of, that's why we write our statement of consistency showing why we're voting against it. Or we're voting to follow our land use plan. If you look on your next page, which is page 4 of the agenda, project history, Mr. Kevin Barnell submitted the application on behalf of the owner, Magi Empire LLC. These properties can be serviced by the town of Nashville Water and Sewer. Public hearing notices were mailed out to approximately 93 property owners within a 500-foot radius on February the 19th for the conditional rezoning hearing, and as a courtesy to community meeting, the town did not have to put that in that letter. Our job is just to inform you of the rezoning. The engineer's job is for the community meeting, but we thought it would also be very applicable to have both of those in there. A second public hearing notice was mailed again to 93 property owners on a 500-foot radius on March the 6th, so we wouldn't have any confusion, as a courtesy for the town Nashville Planning Department and staff. For the meeting for tonight, the rezoning sign was posted on the property February 24th, and photos were taken, and those photos are in your packet. The legal notice was advertised in the Nashville Graphic for March 12th and 19th edition of the Nashville Graphic for the Planning Board meeting. It will be advertised again April 23rd and 30th in the Nashville Graphic for the Town Council public hearing. The front door to Town Hall was posted on February the 19th. Same thing as the Nashville Library, the Harold D. Cooley Library, and our Parks and Recreation Center. Both of those lists will continue to stay on the front doors until May when we have part 2 of this hearing. A formal announcement for the community meeting was run in the community calendar section of the Nashville Graphic. For the benefit of the community, the town of Nashville also posted this announcement on the town website and Facebook page for 3 consecutive weeks. We know that a lot of people do not read the classified section, so for the community meeting, we did not have to post that in the newspaper, but we reached out to the Graphic, was able to get it on their community calendar to run for 3 weeks heading into it. The community meeting was held on March 9th at 5 p.m. We had an estimate of 31 members attend the meeting. Kevin Barnell with Stocks Engineering has provided feedback and comments that he gathered by his team for the community meeting, and he will go over that with the board in his section of the rezoning hearing. The Town Nashville Technical Review Committee met on February 24, 2026 to make recommendations for the conditional rezoning, and we will read those recommendations once we finish the project history. The subject property is not located within a floodplain. The subject property is not located within the Stony Creek, Upper Stony Creek sub-watershed. The subject property is not located within the NCDEQ water supply watershed. As we stated earlier, the future land use map has this existing property slated as medium density residential. The Town Nashville Planning Board held a public hearing on this matter back on September 26, 2023. That evening, the Planning Board voted unanimously to deny the rezoning request for R10 to B1. The Town Nashville Town Council held a public hearing on this matter on October 5th, 2023. That evening, the Town Council voted unanimously to deny the rezoning request from R10 to B1 and to adopt the statement of consistency provided by the Planning Board. The Town of Nashville Planning Board held a public hearing on this matter on August 26, 2025 on this matter, and the Planning Board that evening voted unanimously to deny the rezoning request from R10 to B1. As we stated earlier, Ms. Courtney Estelle was the applicant for that rezoning request. She submitted a formal withdrawal notice to the Town of Nashville planning staff on Wednesday to withdraw the rezoning request from being heard by the Town Council of Nashville, which was scheduled to be heard on August the 2nd. On March 9, 2026, the applicant asked that all police report records be requested for the business of L&L Rosemart Store, Piggly Wiggly, Food Line, Walmart, and the 802 South Break Street Store, and those are in the back of your packet, those police reports. The Planning Board has done this plenty of times, so I believe the Planning Board knows our 4 items of why we're here, to why we look at rezoning requests. but for the record and for the general public, it is the planning board's recommendation that they should consider the following factors when considering a rezoning request and conditional rezoning request. Is the proposal in accordance with the land use plan and surrounding planning principles? Is there convincing demonstration that all use permitted under the prescribed district classification or proposed text amendment would be in the general public interest and not merely in the interest of an individual or small group? Is there convincing demonstration that all use permitted under the proposed district classification would be appropriate in the area including the proposed change? Is there convincing demonstration that the character of the neighborhood would not be materially or adversely affected by any use permitted in the proposed change? Our land use plan and spot zoning, the property has access off South First Street, South Break Street. Why it would not be considered spot zoning is because it is going to be rezoned to conditional zoning non-residential business where this use is allowed. Our future land use map has this property slated as medium density residential, but rezone the property to conditional non-residential B1 allows the growth in a controllable method that continues to promote harmony within the neighboring properties. And as we stated earlier, the subject property does have road access off of South Break Street and South Austin Street. The TRC met on February 24th and made recommendations for approval with the staff development conditions for this conditional rezoning request, with recommendation that if this request was approved by the town council after hearing the planning board's recommendation, the TRC would like to see the applicant go with plan 1 to help reduce the traffic impact for any drive-through window, along with wanting to add more recommendations for construction before any new store is proposed or any permits are issued. Mr. Chairman, I will now yield, sir. If you would like, we can call Mr. Varnell up, and then after Mr. Varnell speaks to the board, we can open up the public hearing, sir.
Okay. If you would, look at page 1.
Yes, sir.
Staff report.
Yes, sir.
I believe that date under hearing date should be March 24th.
Yes, sir.
So we'll make that one correction. I'm ready to hear from Mr. Barnell.
Mr. Varnell, can you agree that this staff report was consistent and accurate to the best of your knowledge, sir?
I do, yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Mr. Chairman, I'll turn it back over to you, sir, Mr. Varnell.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, ready?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman, planning board members, Kevin Varnell with Stocks Engineering, here representing the property owner for this project. The property is located at the intersection of Brake and NC 58 and is known as 802 South First Street. This property was the subject of a similar request last year, just like Sean mentioned, and since that time, the owners have held several meetings and spent a lot of time and effort to prepare a plan that satisfies as many of the neighborhood concerns as possible. These include demolition of the existing building, construction of a new building, which aesthetically fits the neighborhood and is a better fit than the current block building. And the owners have also worked with DOT to ensure their approval and improvement on access and safety to the site. And at this time, Mr. Chairman, if you don't mind, I'd like to give you a few handouts. So what I'm handing out is a letter from DOT saying they approved sketch A, which is what Sean referenced as sketch 1. I also have a picture of the existing building and the proposed building. And I've got a copy of that proposed building up on the board up there. But it's a little hard to see in the dark. So this is the same map that we had shown to the neighborhood when we had the neighborhood meeting. So if I turn it this way so you guys can see it, but they looked at it for about an hour at that meeting, and I'll be happy to share that as well. Thank you. So again, just like I said, DOT has approved and reviewed this map that you got in front of you, and they approved sketch A, which is the one that's shown as far as access, safety to the site, traffic flow and concerns. And at the request of many of the current patrons of the store, a cafe and market items have been added to the request. The rebuild of the store allows for the cafe and room for new products. A neighborhood meeting was held, just like Sean said, on March the 5th, in the town council chambers. Based on the sign-in sheet, there were 31 neighborhood property owners in attendance. The following information was presented by Kevin Barnhill with Stocks Engineers. The property is located at the intersection of Brake Street, NC 58. The property is currently zone split between B1 and R10, and we are requesting a rezoning to B1 conditional use. The plan proposes to tear down and rebuild the existing store located on the property with a new building and parking. The proposed entrance and traffic generated from the proposed development will be reviewed and permitted through DOT. Any traffic concerns or improvements to the existing roadway will be directed by DOT, and DOT has reviewed and approved the proposed plan. The building design provides a fresh new building while keeping the character of the existing neighborhood. We believe the store that we proposed is similar to what a store would have looked like at the same time period as the homes that were built. The proposed site layout helps to provide additional parking, improves current traffic flow, and provides open green space at the intersection where the current site is paved. This open area provides opportunities for landscaping, signage, or artistic features to provide character to the neighborhood. We have pulled the police department incident reports for the property to determine if there are any security-related issues that needed to be addressed. The reports appear to have dramatically decreased from previous years, with most of the recent calls being made by the property owner or employees concerning mental disorders, suspicious persons, or trespassing. The reports appear to be less than what would normally be anticipated in a typical retail location. And that's why you guys have been offered the copies of the police reports. As for timing, this first step is the long process. The earliest construction will be able to start roughly in 15 to 18 months from today. The public was then allowed to ask questions or provide comments, and the following is a summary of the conversations. And again, this is not all of them. This was a summary of an hour-long meeting. One neighbor said that he would rather see the store closed and boarded up than to allow the building of a new store. Several neighbors complained about pedestrian trespassers walking across their yard to get to the store. And Stocks Engineering responded that they would discuss with the police department and work with them to come up with ways to deter trespassers. One neighbor complained about the high prices of products in the store. Several neighbors expressed concerns over the clientele that uses the store, vape products, and gaming machines. One neighbor asked if we consider this area as a food desert. Stocks Engineering responded and said that the proposed market and cafe would offer a walkable option to many residents in the community that do not have access to vehicles or would rather walk. There are no food options within a reasonable walking distance of this neighborhood. One neighbor discussed several crimes that occurred at the store several years ago, and Stocks Engineering noted that they had pulled the police reports for the past 24 months, and the reports actually showed very little criminal activity at this location. The police reports also showed the most calls were actually made by the owner or employees. Stocks Engineering responded to several statements regarding comments about the owners, and Stocks Engineering related that the owners of the store are residents of Nashville and live within or less than 1 mile from the property. One property owner complained about continuing to receive notifications and having to come to meetings, and Stocks Engineering responded that the normal rezoning process requires 3 meetings on various nights and at various times, and this gives every resident an opportunity to participate in that process. One neighbor asked about realigning the intersection of Brake and First Street, and Stocks Engineering responded that DOT had reviewed the plan and had approved the sketch plan as shown. There have been no discussions with DOT about a future realignment. There were other concerns that have come up related to tax increases and the impact the new store may have on taxes. The proposed rezoning is an expansion of an existing use and would have no impact on neighboring property values. The property values of houses in this neighborhood are based on supply and demand and previous sales comparisons in that neighborhood. As the board is aware, I have been representing rezonings in Nashville for a little over 23 years. And it has been a challenge to find neighbors that are willing to speak in favor of any project that we have going. We have overwhelmingly heard, or overwhelmingly hear from the ones who are adamantly against, and rarely hear anyone speak in favor. I have tonight a petition with 131 names listed, and I know petitions don't carry much weight, but we do have that just in case you're interested. There's 131 names on it. But this petition was done online through a platform, and a phone number had to be provided to verify identity and the integrity of the petition. So when you see the city listed on the petition, it's from where their phones were actually registered. So some of them may say Raleigh or Arizona, but that's just where their phone numbers were got when they got their original phone number. So I also have 66 handwritten letters from residents in Nashville and the neighborhood surrounding the store saying that they are overwhelmingly in favor of this project. Sean has alluded that we have copies of those letters, but there are 66 letters handwritten that I can provide to the board as well. I hope that this board can see that a lot of time and energy and effort has gone into the new conditional rezoning requests. By submitting this as a conditional rezoning request, we have worked hard to provide reasonable conditions based on the concerns that we have heard. The suggested conditions are: the plan must be developed in accordance with the plan as presented. The planning director can approve changes so long as they meet the original intent and scope of the planning board approval. Landscaping and buffering shall be provided in accordance with the Town of Nashville zoning ordinance regulations. The proposed cafe and market shall not own or operate any gaming machines. The proposed cafe and market shall not have any exterior vape advertisements. The proposed cafe and market shall not have any flashing or neon lighted signs other than an open sign on the exterior of the building. And all other required state and local permits must be obtained. As Sean said, this board has been charged with finding 4 things. One is that it's in accordance with the land use plan. I would offer that this is an expansion of an existing zoning plan, an existing use that's already located on one of these parcels. And we're rezoning one of these parcels to a less intense use. Right now it's on B1, allowed to do anything that's allowed in a B1 zoning district. We will be restricting that property as well to just this use, as well as needing to expand to be able to provide the parking that we needed. The store, we believe, is in the public interest because there are, again, 66 handwritten letters. There's 131 on the petition that say that they want this store, that they want the expansion, that they want this to be a nice location to provide additional items, more so than they have right now. The uses are appropriate. Obviously, we need location to be able to provide coffee, which is what this store is proposing, an actual cafe and a market that is in walking distance to the patrons in this neighborhood and the residents here, that they don't have to walk all the way to the Piggly Wiggly, which is a long way away from this neighborhood, to be able to get those items. So we feel like the use is appropriate. And as far as being in character with the neighborhood, again, if you look at the rendering, we have done our best to try to match what this store should have looked like had it been built when the homes were built in the neighborhood. It's a very nice looking store. We feel like it fits in a lot better than the current center block building that currently exists. So with that, I'll pause and reserve an option to come back and answer any questions that you guys have at the end. And I'll be happy to answer any questions that you have now.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Any questions from the board at this time? And if you would remain, I'd appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sean?
Mr. Chairman, we can take this time now to open up the public hearing session. Members of the public have signed in. I will provide you a copy of the list, and once you go through the list, Mr. Chairman, if you would like to poll the audience to see if anybody else would like to speak, you're more than welcome, sir.
Thank you, sir. At this time, I'm going to open up the public hearing portion of conditional rezoning 26-03. If you come forward, if you would, state your name and your address, and you'll be given 3 minutes to comment about this.
We also ask members of the public to please address the board and not the community and not the members in the audience. Please keep all comments directly to our board.
Thank you. Please come forward if you have comments.
Hello, my name is James Lynch. And I live 14 Ward Street for the last 55 years. I seen a lot of things, good and bad, come. And the thing about this store is the bad thing. The people that want it don't live near it. A lot of these people here is resident, they're right on the street or right around it. And we got to contend with people walking all night, day and night, told the beer bags, beer bottles, back and forth home. And then people got in their yard, to take pride in their yard. They got to continue to pick up trash. And, it's a shame. We got a family here that their family thing is to pick up the garbage and they can report on how much beer can, beer bottles come from. This is not a thing. I would like to know how much this new store gonna cost. And it should be public record on how much this, store gonna cost. And these people ain't gonna invest this money in this store unless they see their way of making it back. And the stuff they gonna make it out back with beer, wine, vape, cigarette, and anything else they can sell. And a lot of times they don't care. If you're old enough to buy it, as long as you bring the money there, and I know it for a fact, it has been done more than one time. And I know some of the people up here on this council, they hear this horror stories. I hate to see we be sold out for a dollar. And that's all it is. You put this store here, and all they can do is try to drain money out of the community without putting anything back. They ain't invested back in young people. If we don't do something, we're gonna lose generations. And the crime rate can get worse. Ain't no crime report from that store. I tell you one thing, you ask the neighbors, I went around petitioning, asking people to come to this meeting. A lot of them tell you they had stuff stolen out the yard. And the crime rate around and connecting the store, young lady just got killed. I've seen her so many times going back and forth to that store. We had a guy got killed right on the corner of Break 6th Street, got killed. We got an unsolved murder now. A young man, I can't call his name, he used to run a barber shop. He was killed, thrown out on 58 down there. And this all in our neighborhood, you know. And I'm not getting any younger. My wife, if I die, I like for her to be able to live in a safe place. And to my police, they can't cover our territory.
Mr. Lynch, if you would wrap up your comments, please. Thank you.
But think about it, this your home. And you won't live comfortable. You won't put nothing like that in your yard, your backyard, side yard, and you'll hear some more comments about the trespassing the guy, and ain't nothing done about it.
Thank you, Mr. Lynch. I appreciate your comments to the board. And if I pronounce your name incorrectly, I apologize, Ms. Richardson, Ms. Lashana Richardson.
Good evening. It's LaShanya Richardson.
Thank you, Ms. Richardson. I knew I was going to get it wrong.
That's okay.
And your address, please, ma'am.
It's 406 Ward Street.
Yes, ma'am.
But my parents also live at 401 Ward Street, and their names are Harold and Brenda Richardson. So I'm here tonight on behalf of myself as well as my parents. I was at the meeting on March 5th. I'd like to say that no one at the meeting on March 5th had anything to say about the owners of the store. What was said was that the owners of the store do not live in our community. So I want to make that clear. I appreciate you all giving us a forum to voice our concerns about the expansion of the store. Some of our concerns are the littering in our community as a result of the store. We don't see a lot of mobile traffic going to the store. As Mr. Lynch mentioned, there's a lot of pedestrian traffic to and from the store. All hours of the day and night, there's constant foot traffic back and forth to the store. Now you imagine people walking back and forth all day long, littering. There's the potential of gaming machines in the store, vapes in the store. Now I've done some research about these stores being open in residential neighborhoods, And everything that I've looked up, it says that crime increases when these stores are put in residential neighborhoods. And I have the information and I'll be happy to share it with you. Right now, we don't feel safe with the store in our neighborhood, with the foot traffic back and forth to the store. And the store right now is not a grocery store. If the owner wanted to have a grocery store, he could have invested in a grocery store, but it's not a grocery store. There's very little retail items in the store for it to even be considered a convenience store. I went in there earlier this week. I wanted to buy a Coke. There wasn't even any Cokes in the store. So I don't really understand what the agenda would be other than to expand vapes and games in the store. And you want to talk about this being a good fit for our community? We've never had gambling machines in our community. We've never had vapes in our community. We've never had anything like that in our community. And that's why I don't think it's a good fit for our community. We have a lot of young kids in our community that go back and forth to that store. And I don't think that's a good reflection on what we want our young people to see in our community.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
I appreciate your time. I believe it's Dennis Joyner. Joyner's from 821 Break Street. If I mispronounced that first name, I'm sorry, I can't read it.
Afternoon to all.
And Mr. Joyner, state your name, please, so I can get it correct for the record and your address.
Dennis Joyner, representative 821 South Break Street.
Thank you.
Okay. And I'm here in a meeting about the zoning for the store and expansion of use in the area of South Break Street. Land use area in this matter is definitely questionable because
Mr. Joyner, just a little bit closer to the microphone.
the business is perceived, if you call it a business, is perceived as non-beneficial to our community, and citizens who reside in our community frequently visit and stay, and some who frequently visit and stay in our community have great concerns about the presence of this building, described as a store, and is declared by all of our residents as a place that's non-beneficial in our community. The described store is really not a business. It's a haven that attracts people who are unwanted in our community. And based on my experience and what I see in the community when I'm there, the people are very, very unattractive and appear to be dazed and as if they might be on substances that they should not be on. Hopefully, that is not the case, but it appears to be the case when I'm there. And I'm there at night a lot. And every time I'm there at night, I see people just walking all across everybody's properties and down Break Street, South Break Street, and Highway 58. And these people create fear in our community by causing our residents to feel uneasy and uncomfortable. And people cannot currently live in a community where they're uncomfortable all the time. And it just appears frightening to most residents in our community. Presence of store patrons cause people not to develop and try to adjust to living in a community that's perceived as harmful. And it creates a constant fear, everlasting fear. So no one can live in a place where there's everlasting fear. Think about it, what's happening in Iran and Israel. Those are places of uncomfortable conditions for residents. I compare this store as a situation that cause our citizens to have to live as if we live in Iran and Israel. It's just detrimental, and it's just harmful to us. And we have a real interest in our community. We want to keep our community.
Thank you very much, sir. I appreciate you coming up and being heard.
Thank you.
Alexandria got it.
Hello. Hi, my name is Alexandria Gadet. I live at 810 South Bridge Street. I live right across the street from the store. My concerns about the store, I understand we talked about not having the gaming machines and wanting to expand to put food, or no outside signs for vape. It doesn't change the inside. As far as the vape and tobacco and beer, which are our biggest concerns in the community, I understand that you're trying to make your profit, and I get that, and I'm not against that. That's fine. But it's not something that we want in our community, regardless of who owns it or who's occupying the building. Personally, if we're doing something for the community, I'd rather for the building not to be there at all, and we could just open a community garden for our whole community. We could, plant our own stuff and have a free community garden, and we wouldn't have to pay anybody for our food. And we sure wouldn't have to worry about any of the unsavoriness that comes with it. It'll be something that we could bond together as a community and be a real neighborhood instead of having the unwantedness and the people that are not really a part of our community be around the area that it's in. A lot of the people that are in favor for it do not even live in the area or out of state or even out of the town. And I understand wanting to see the person that you support, do what they want to do and, be great in it. And that's fine. And I'm not against that. And, personally, there's nothing, I'm not against them personally. It's just the store, regardless of who has it, does not need to be there. We have a lot of issues with trespassing, like mentioned before. I live right across the street, so I have a lot of people come from the street behind me, just cutting through my yard. They'll leave beer and liquor bottles in my yard. They'll leave all kinds of trash. I've even had to go to the point of having to arm myself because these people, they don't care about the people that live around there, and they feel like they are entitled to any place to walk or be. Regardless of that being in front of your home, in front of your mailbox, or just being in the middle of the street and feeling like they're supposed to just own the whole neighborhood. And, a lot of this is, repetition. A lot of you're going to hear the same stuff, but that's how we feel as a community. Like I said, the building, regardless of who owns it or what's in there, I don't feel like it's going to be what we think it should be for our community. So like I said, a community garden would be a better option for us versus having a building that has to worry about traffic, foot traffic, and any of the unsavoriness that comes with it. So thank you for your time. Have a good one.
Thank you for coming forward. Mr. Chris Sandy.
Chris Sandy, Bill Wright Supply, 720 South Body Street. I'm a business owner in the community, and I've got to know present owners of this property. And in meeting them and spending time with them, we all have a passion and a drive in life and God-given talents. And we pursue those, and that makes the best person that you are. And I can tell you the owners of this, their passion is owning a store, serving the people that come in and caring about them, knowing them by name and what they like to buy and that sort of thing. Just wants to expand on that. That's point one. Point two is I have a lot of littering and trash too over on Railroad Street and Body Street that I have to pick up all the time. And I guarantee you, I don't put it there, and I leave the trash cans out there, and they're too lazy to put it in there. It's people. In the community, in the culture, people have to take and address themselves and what goes on there. Store has nothing to do with that. Other than that we can make this better by making a better place for people to go to, or keep the same old, same old. If you keep the same thing, you're gonna get the same results, and that's the definition of insanity. And so if they can improve it, make it better, and provide a better service to the community, I think it'll be a big asset. And most of these things that the people have stated here doesn't apply to the business. The business has nothing to do with the culture of people that are in that community. It has to be addressed because those people are causing the problem. A lot of them walk to come from the community. Not to mention that the community has a liquor house. Nobody says anything about that. But keep that going on. So all I gotta say is make it bigger, make it better, and provide a more valuable service to the entire community, and or keep the same old, and that's what you're getting. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sandy. Linwood Battle.
No, my name is Leonard Brown. I live on 415 Ward Street. I just listened to Mr. Sanders a few minutes ago, talking about liquor house. If a liquor house anywhere around, it's probably in that store. Because a lot of people coming out of there and bringing out a lot of different things out of that store. Like I said, I ain't got no problem with people trying to do better for themselves. But when you trying to bring down the neighborhood that we live into, I've been living there for 51 years. I've seen some things. You know what I'm saying? I've seen people come in these stores and kids coming down and buy liquor, buy beer, and they sell it to them. You know, but then kids got to go back home to their parents. They the one gonna have to deal with the kids. When these kids get off the chain, who gonna deal with them? You can't send them to the police and say, y'all deal with it now. We got to get these kids while they're small, while they're young. But I'm telling you, if you don't, you're going to lose a bunch of generation of kids. And that's what's taking place today. We get a tendency of turning our backs, act like we don't see things. It's all about the dollar bill. The dollar bill ain't nothing when you got to bring kids home, they're on drugs, that they had on methamphetamine, all these other different stuff. And they can start off by vaping. And that's what that place said. You got to be 21 to get vape, right? You can go up there right today and get that vape. You ain't no more than 15, 16 years old. But that's my neighborhood. That's the people I live around. And I don't want to see this stuff happen. Hey, if you're going to build a store, build it down on the other side of that center.
There you go.
Build it right there where the big spot ain't nothing but farmland. And go in and put a nice store in them people's neighborhood and see what they say. We ain't no different. We proud of our neighborhood just like they did. You understand? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bowden. At this time, if anyone would like to come forward and be heard, we'll extend the public hearing for a few minutes. Yes, ma'am, please come forward.
My name is Shanquilla Smith, and I live on 903 South Break Street.
Yes, ma'am.
I've listened to what everybody has said in here. They're talking all bad about him. I know him. I have worked for him. Amir, he's a good person. He's like family. And the stuff that they're talking about, that's going to happen with the store there or without the store there. Laundering, that's going to be there without the store. Drugs, that's going to be there without the store. And everything that they mentioned is going to be there without the store. He's trying to make this community better for the people that can't drive, for the people who can't get to Piggly Wiggly. He's trying to help them out. And as far as buying vapes under 21, that's not true. I've worked there like I stated, and we asked for ID as well as any other store. What's the difference from the Nashville Diner? He's trying to help our community. They're all talking about the bad in him, but nobody spoke about the good in him. And that's all I got to say.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Yes, sir.
Yeah, no. My name is Oscar Wiggins. I live at 911 South First Street. Now I'm gonna try to be a little more civil this time at the meeting because, like I say, my patience is getting a little short with this subject. It's a lot of property in our neighborhood that at one time they were trying to build apartments. And some of these apartments were trying to be built by my family. But the neighborhood is a single family residence, not for apartments. So it got turned down over and over and over again because that's not a place for apartments. The same thing with the store. This is not a place for a B1 business. You say he got 66 names of people that wrote letters. I pay $5,000 a year in property taxes. How many renters pay property taxes? I pay $5,000 a year, and my property value is determined about what's around me. And you're gonna put a store down there that's gonna cause all this riffraff. No, I'm not for it. Like I say, you know, the problem is bad enough already, and you want to make it bigger? No, sir. No, sir. I'm not for it. It's not a personal thing. I don't know the man that runs the store. Don't know nothing about him, don't care. And I don't feel like it was the right thing for the young man to come here and talk about the culture of this neighborhood. I thought that was a slap in the face. And that's all I got to say.
Thank you for being heard. Anyone else before we close the public hearing?
Hi, I'm Rhonda King, and I reside at 101 Apache in Nashville, which is not near where they're proposing to expand. But I've been a part of the Nashville community for majority of my life. And I'm against this expansion in that, yes, it does cause different things to rise in terms of the loitering and all of that, but above all, that foot traffic, I have been coming down 58, late at night as a woman by myself, and I did not feel safe. When I got to that area, I would make sure that my doors were locked, and simply because I've seen people, 2 o'clock in the morning, I'm getting off from my job, coming down. People should not be out at that time of night, and it's very unsafe. So I'm against that, and if you're gonna better the community, then sink some money back into the community where, you're proposing to serve.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes, sir.
802 First Street. I mean, Jelly.
And your name again, sir?
I mean, Jelly.
And speak to the microphone if you would, sir.
Test.
All right, one more time.
802 First Street. I mean, Magellan. I hear what a lot of people are talking about. I do. That is everything they're saying I'm trying to fix. I'm trying to make the neighborhood look better. I'm giving it a nice, you guys see the picture of what we're trying to do there. They want us to invest money into the neighborhood. That's exactly what we're doing. We're trying to clean it up, make it more safe, provide better camera systems. A lot of people are talking about the machines, conditional use. We're trying to take that out of there. Everything, we're trying to work with the community. That's what we're trying to do. And that's what we've been trying to do since we got here. We're not trying to make it look bad or anything. We're trying to make it look good. We want it to be safe for children as well. We want to add groceries in there. That's That's all I have to say is like, we're really trying. We're doing everything we can, you know. All this takes time and a lot of money spent just being here. And that's what we're doing. We're bringing, you know, we're investing a lot of money into this neighborhood. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for being heard. Anyone else?
Ernestine Hill Stevenson, 402 Ward Street. I just want to say that in any meeting that anyone is having, don't come up here and talk about no culture. Brooklyn Heights is predominantly black. So don't come with the culture. We are trying to protect our community. And I'm like Mr. Wiggins, when you come with the culture and you come with the stores aggravate the culture if you want to go culture. So if you want to say black, say black. Don't come talk about no cultures. We live in Brooklyn Heights, born and raised there, gonna stay there. We ain't going nowhere. We are here for our community. If it was his community, he would be fighting for his community as well, whether it was black or white, and it does not matter. And I don't appreciate it.
Thank you, ma'am. Anyone else before we close the hearing and allow questions from council? Public hearing is closed. Planning board, what questions do we have for Mr. Varnell or staff?
I can't leave it alone.
We're here to discuss and vote on allowing rezoning in order to allow the current property owners to improve the property. Is that correct? Am I correct in saying what I'm saying and asking? Is that correct? But what I've heard tonight is not about a building. It's about a pre-existing condition, and we cannot vote on a pre-existing condition. So basically, we're stuck in a catch-22. We're damned if we do, and we're damned if we don't. It doesn't matter which way we vote. The condition is still there. Is that correct? Is it also correct if we decide to go one way and the town council decides they don't agree with that, they can change it themselves? Is that correct?
It is.
Okay. It's a beautiful rendition, but that doesn't solve the problem. I'm finished. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Anytime. Any history on this?
I've lived here all my life, and I understand what they're going through.
Yes, sir.
Because I understand what we are going through.
Yes, sir.
I was looking at this photo. I'm trying to understand where's the front, where's the back, where is this road located? And it don't look like nothing like what I see at the top of that.
Mr. Varnell,
Yes, sir.
if you would, yes, I think Mr. Davis is confused because the road does not show the center turning lane. It's a little bit,
Yeah.
and I know you're trying to get as much of the story in the picture as possible.
That's right. So, I mean, ultimately, this is a rendering. So, I mean, it's a good example of what we think it will look like, but ultimately, it does not correctly depict what PPA looks like through that section.
No, I don't.
But the goal is to kind of show what the store's gonna look like, the parking lot, that type of thing. That's what we're really focusing on. There is a road here, but obviously it has a three-lane section, not a two-lane section.
That's First Street.
And that's right. So at this point, like I said, we're really early in the process. I mean, this is a rendering of what we think the building could look like, should look like, and obviously this board has the right to add conditions. That's part of the conditional rezoning process. So if there are things that we want to see add, conditions that we think would address the concerns, I mean, those are all things that this board can offer up, and as long as the applicant agrees to it, then we can add those as conditions to this project. So ultimately, like I said, the front of the building is this side here. There's a drive-through that comes around the side. That's for the cafe, the coffee shop. And ultimately, it's about 3 times the size of the existing building. And that's so that we can add these additional items. Right now, the store is extremely limited. It's really too small to be able to provide much more than what it currently has, which is the owner wants to grow this into a market and a cafe and add a coffee shop and do things that the community would like to see. But ultimately, the size of the store that is currently there just doesn't lend itself to do that. And then the structure of the store is also a center block store, which doesn't add on very well either. So there's a lot of factors with that existing location. The issue that I think we have is the store is going to continue to operate. So right now, there's an existing use that's there. It's already in a B1 zone. It will continue to operate just like it is. The owners would like to expand that and grow that into something a lot nicer than they currently have. And like I said, ultimately, they're just limited where they are right now. But understand that if this is denied, they will continue to operate just like they are now. And that's just not, again, we want to be able to add those conditions and take away a lot of the concerns that the community has by asking for this process. And that's why we took even the existing property and allowed it to be conditionally zoned with it.
Good. Thank you, Mr. Farnham. Mr. Davis, further questions?
But I have a problem with the picture because he's saying that we're showing the store at this time. But if you're going to show the store, because I'm trying to see 58. I don't see 58 there. I see a road going back around the curve. So
This is First Street, this is 58, and that's Break Street right there.
I understand that.
It's just, see, this is facing north, this is facing north.
I understand that too.
That's the parking lot.
So what you're telling me, this is what it's going to look like?
No, that's just a rendition. That's what it's gonna look like there, but this is just, that's.
Well, why didn't he just show the building?
Mr. Farnham, why didn't we show the building?
Why didn't you just show the building?
Well, ultimately, if I show the building, then someone says, where's the parking lot? You know, where's the drive-through?
I
You
mean,
show that. So
you presented.
at some point, what we do is we show kind of what that looks like with the parking lot and kind of how the road will be. And so that gives you an idea of scale, how close the building will be from the street, that type of thing. So
Right.
that's why we try to show as much as we can so that you get a good idea of what the site would look like if you were driving down First Street and looking at it. So we certainly could do blow-ups if you'd like to see those. If council would like to see, we can do a bigger building, blow-ups of the building. But the goal is so you can see it as it would be presented if you were driving down the street.
Okay.
Okay.
One more question.
Absolutely.
Now, just under the existing conditions, we've got that one little triangle of B1, correct?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
We've got that one B1,
That's right.
and
Correct.
behind it is R10 property that has been purchased.
Correct. Yes, sir.
What is to prevent them as in the existing conditions of what it is right now, as far as what it's done, what's to prevent them from building a building, replace the old one and put a new one and just have it facing south instead of north? I'm not saying do that, but what's to prevent them from doing that?
For the 802, there's nothing preventing them from doing that. If they submit a plan showing a reconstruction of a store at 802, the town would just have to have the TRC review of the new store, if they're going to tear it all the way down or any additions they're going to add, and it would just have to meet the setbacks of the B1 district on that lot and meet the parking sketch for the convenience store per our ordinance.
But before they tore it down, they have
They
to
would
be
need to submit
pretty
all that to
sure
us.
that they would be assured that
Yes.
they could replace it.
That's right.
Otherwise, it's over.
We would tell them not to tear it down until you submit everything to be reviewed, and then, once it's approved and you have an approved zoning permit, and you go to Dash County and they approve it for building inspection review, then do your demolition.
Now, does that property, that R10 property that they purchased, does that have to be rezoned if they do it that way, to just use that as a parking area?
If they're just using the B1 for the store, they got to show that they have parking there. Now, our ordinance does not have anything where you say you cannot park on residential. They will have to approve that to an impervious surface. Because of course, we have the front yard parking there. If it's grass or 10, we're gonna write them a ticket. But if he changed that to an impervious surface to a paid parking lot, and we approve it on the town side,
So in order for that to be done, it's gotta go through,
TRC, yes, sir, Technical Review Committee of the town.
Let me, I'm going to express a couple of thoughts for the board. I don't have a vote in this unless there's a tie, as y'all know. The concerns I have is when we addressed this a year ago, several members of this board were pleased to get that truck traffic out of the street because the diagram we saw just a year and a half ago showed the trucks could pull behind it. And I actually thought that was a good thing. We'll get this traffic out of the street, talking about the trucks that service this store. That's going away in this, and that concerns me. I also, in speaking to the applicant at our last meeting, expressed to him that what I felt as the chair I didn't want to see is a bigger alcohol market, more vapes, more tobacco. And I asked him if he came back and presented this conditionally, that he give us a condition of how much alcohol and vape he would carry to show us this was not just a bigger alcohol store, a bigger tobacco store. And I don't see that. And then I like the drawing, but I don't like the drawing if it's going to bring 3 times more beer, 3 times more vapes. If this can be a convenience store, the amount of beer and vapes remain same, it should expand into the grocery area. And last, and I don't mean this, but as an observation, they talk about in the new store limiting games of chance, limiting flashing lights and vape signs. If we have a commitment to this community, the better community, why isn't that being done now? Why don't you unplug it now and limit this now? If this commits to the community, why is it not important now? So again, I don't have a vote at this time, but that's my observations. You know, I'm like you, Ross, I agree, there's no win here for us. We get a better store than one.
and us is meaning all of
All
us.
of us, but we can't shut it down.
That's right. No, we can't.
We can't. So that's my thoughts to the board. So other comments from the board for general discussion? If not, we're gonna look at our options and make a call. So this time, we have the options are approving. This conditional zoning is written up. I remind you that my understanding is it is not within, as currently suggested, within our within the long-term
Yes, sir.
plan.
So we have those 3 conditions. The first one in your packet on page 6 shows the vote. If you do decide to vote for approval of the rezoning, the town staff would ask you to adopt the conditions that the town staff adopted. And I believe Mr. Barnell has also presented some other conditions in his report that the applicant said he would do. So you have the option of approving with the development conditions from the town staff and the ones that Mr. Barnell presented. You have option 2, approving no conditions. All you have to do is just approve it be allowed as a convenience store without fuel pumps and no development conditions that I have presented staff or Mr. Barnell. And the last option is to deny the rezoning at all. And if you deny it, then we write a statement consistency on why it was denied to present to the council.
So that's pages 6, 7, and 8. We approve with conditions, approve without conditions, which means he can just run as he sees fit, or 8, we deny it outright.
Yes, sir. And approve without conditions means we still have to adopt it to allow the convenience store without fuel pumps, but that's all we said he could do. Anything else, like Chairman said, is no control over it.
In page 6, if somebody makes a motion and wants to say we want to see an absolute limit on alcohol and tobacco sales, does it have to come back to us? Can that be pushed in page 6?
I believe any condition that the board sees fit for development can be added to the conditions as long as the applicant or his representative agrees to it. And I believe Mr. Barnell in his report did say that they would remove the machines, limit the alcohol sales. He would go all over the conditions that he presented.
I'd have to have a hard number personally on alcohol sales. Not, and I don't mean this, I love Mr. Barnell, he gives great presentation, but I don't want to I promise, I want to see a number before I'd approve it.
Mr. Chairman, do you have an idea of what you're thinking as far as numbers go? And I don't know how to quantify, that's the problem.
I would think whatever percentage he has now not to increase.
Okay.
That and vape and tobacco, what, if he right now, let's say has a surface area of I won't make it up 20, bigger than 300 square foot, then he wouldn't be able to do more than 300 square foot in the future store. That would be my thought.
We would agree to that condition.
Just a suggestion. Again, I don't want to at least increase, and I can't get away from the fact it's 250 foot from a church and a parcel.
I have to be honest. I live in that community. You can throw a rock at my house on that store. And just last week, about 10 guys came through my yard. I walked out there and they began to apologize. We just walked out, apologize. Okay. But one of them had a gun on his side. I said, what you doing with that gun? He said, just in case I run into something. That's nothing to do with the store. I didn't know where they were coming from, but they was coming from that way. I can walk down that path and get to the store. That is a concern. It has nothing to do with the volume he's selling, as far as I'm concerned. It's about safety. Living without seeing that. I don't want to see it. So I'm just saying. I live in that community, love the community, love the people. That's all I have to say.
Okay. All right, you've got three options. I'll entertain a motion at this time.
We're not solving the problem, whether we make a motion or not. The problem started when it was first allowed to sell alcohol there, and it's been growing since then.
Ross, when you speak, would you mind talking?
I'm sorry. Us making a motion, whether we reject it or approve it, is not solving the problem. The problem is that pre-existing problem, that pre-existing conditions. When that small hot dog stand was allowed to start selling alcohol, that was the tremendous downfall of the town of Nashville. And perhaps that was before we had town ordinances, before we had more stringent monitoring of the businesses within the town. It's a lot of pressure on us to make a decision when basically we're losing either way.
Can't make a motion. I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make that motion.
What motion is that?
I move the town of Nashville Planning Board recommends denial.
I second it.
I have a motion with Dennis Hudson to deny the proposal. I have a second from Mr. Strickland. Entertain a vote. All in favor? All opposed? I'm sorry, Mr. Harper, you in favor? It is denied with unanimous vote 4-0. Go ahead, Mr. Evans.
I agree with, Mr. Strickland that it's not solved problem. And it's not gonna, either way, we're,
The store's still gonna be there tomorrow.
yeah.
It's gonna be there, if we don't change, it's gonna be there 2 years from now, just like it is today. And we'll still have the foot traffic and other things.
Yes, so, it's,
I'm just gonna suggest that we,
I don't think no matter what we do,
you said that correctly. And again, we're just an advisory voice to the council. The council can act independent and has the option to act independent of us. But I thank those who came for being heard. We thank you for letting us know how you felt. We thank the applicant. Mr. Varnell, thank you for, again, considering the limit of alcohol sales. We're going to go in recess for 5 minutes at this time and let those who were here just for that part of the hearing leave. Thank you. We're going to reopen our meeting at this time. We thank those who have remained behind for our next discussion. Sean, I'll turn this back over to staff, and I would like to thank the planning board members for your very difficult, thoughtful discussions a minute ago.
Mr. Chairman, thank you as always, sir. We will now go back with the format we had for our conditional rezone, the first one we had on our books tonight. I thank y'all for readjusting the agenda, and the applicant also thanks y'all. He was just running a few minutes late, he said, but he appreciates you working with him. This evening we would have had Mr. Mike Tolson, but the applicant himself has came here, Mr. Michael Hurt, to represent his property for conditional rezoning from R10 to CZNRO&I for the purpose of utilizing the property for the only allowable 2 uses, which in our ordinance it says financial offices services. We treat that as professional office space and government land use per the town of Nashville table allowed uses. If you turn over in your packet on the next page after the agenda staff report, you see the rezone application. This was submitted on behalf of Mr. Hurt by Mike Toast from Matt Gay and Associates. Also, the applicant did submit the meets and bounds on page number 4. Page 5 is the actual parcel of land that's asking to be rezoned to conditional non-zoning residential O&I. Is a 9.47 acre tract with frontage off Western Avenue. Page number 6, you will see a photograph from Nash County GIS showing everybody within a 500-foot radius that received a letter. Matt Gay and Associates also provided the listing of mailing that was sent out that's in your packet. The town also provided the mailing labels of everybody who received a letter. And you will see 61 in the mailing labels, but it was 62 because we had an additional one that we hand wrote out.
What page is that on?
That is on page number, you should be on number 9 now. That's the one that says March 9th, notice of public hearing letter.
Yes, sir.
We sent this letter out on March 9th for a notice of public hearing. Page 10 behind that is the certification notice of to property owners delivery, letting you know that I myself, Sean Lucas, do hereby certify that I did send this letter out 10 days prior to the public hearing. If you look at page 11 in your packet, that is from the February 25th, 2026 meeting. That night, the planning board did find the rezoning of this property consistent with the land use plan. That is a statement of consistency that was submitted. And the reason why we're here tonight, during the town council meeting, the applicant's representative, Mr. Tolson, decided to formally withdraw the application live during the meeting and come back as asked by the town council for conditional rezoning. Staff report on page number 1 in your pack for staff report, CZRZ O&I 2026-04. The owner is Her LLC. The applicant is Matt Gay and Associates, Mike Tolson, but the owner here is not here tonight to represent himself. Mr. Michael Hurt, on behalf of the owner, Mr. Michael Hurt, the owner, has requested the property of 608 Western Avenue, which is in the town of Nashville, be rezoned from R10 to conditional zoning, non-residential O&I. The property is located at 608 Western Avenue. It has a parcel number of 335724. The property is located within the town of Nashville limits and zoning jurisdiction. It has available water and sewer readily available for the property. North of the property is R10, MF, and R6, residential multifamily use duplexes. South of the property is B1, vacant wetland area, Stony Creek Park. East of the property is R10, residential neighborhood. West of the property is R10, R6, residential neighborhoods. I take it the planning board already knows what R10 and CZNR is, so there's no reason to go back down that road as we stated earlier. If you turn to page 2 on the agenda report, the 2021 Nashville Comp Plan has this property slated as neighborhood services. Neighborhood service preferred uses is retail, professional service, restaurants, offices, institutional uses, and government facilities. It also gives the town consideration for parking suggestions, what we need to do. The applicant is only asking for 2 uses. Office financial service, as we stated, that's professional office space is what we call it. Government land use also. If you turn to page 3 in your packet, you will see a property of the white 3-bedroom single-family dwelling. The owner has spent a tremendous amount of money converting and bringing this property back up to code. If you turn to page 4, below is a comparison of the zoning map and the future land use map of the subject property, showing at R10, whereas the existing future land use map classifies the subject property as neighborhood services. If the subject property is rezoned to CZNR O&I, it will be contiguous with the adjacent zoning district of the zoning map and be consistent with the future land use map. If we jump over to page number 5, project history, Matt Gay and Associates on behalf of Mr. Michael Hurt of Hurt LLC submitted the application on Tuesday, January 20, 2026 for rezone of the property to RT and O&I. The town of Nashville Planning Board had a public hearing on this matter, February 24, 2026. During the public hearing, 3 residents came up to speak against the rezoning request. Board member Walter Harper made a motion to approve the rezoning request, with board member Dennis Evans seconded. The motion passed unanimously 3-0. The town of Nashville Planning Board voted in favor of the rezoning request and prepared a statement of consistency for approval, stating that this rezoning did align with the town of Nashville's future land use map and comprehensive plan, and approving it would follow the recommendations of applicable plans the town has on file for rezoning. During the March 3rd, 2026 Town Council public hearing, 5 residents came up to speak against the rezoning request. At the March 3rd, 2026 Town Council meeting, the applicant decided to formally withdraw the rezoning request and refile for conditional zoning. As we stated earlier, the property can be serviced by town water and town sewer. Public hearing notices were mailed out to approximately 92 property owners within a 500-foot radius on Saturday, March 9th, 2026. There were originally 105 listed names, but 14 of these properties were owned by the town of Nashville. The rezoning sign was posted on the property February 4th. The legal notice was advertised in Nashville Graphic for March the 12th, 19th, and 26th for the planning board and for the town council special call public hearing meeting, which will be on March the 30th. The front door was posted on March the 9th for the Harold D. Cooley Library, the Parks and Recreation Center. The TRC reviewed this on January 27, 2026. I will review their request further in the packet. The subject property front porch is not located within the floodplain, but of course the rear portion of the 9-acre property is located within the 500-100-year floodplain. The subject property is located within the Stony Creek watershed. It is not located in CDEQ water supply watershed. As we stated, the property is slated for neighborhood services. During the February 24th meeting, 3 residents came up to speak against the rezoning property request, but that evening the planning board did vote to rezone it. Well, found it favorable for rezoning, write a condition and recommendation to the town council. On March 3rd, as we stated, Mr. Mike Tosin decided to withdraw this and come back with conditional zoning. Reasonableness and spot zone on page 7. The request is not spot zone because the subject property will be rezoned to CZNR O&I, where the town national future land use and comprehensive plan use is allowed. The only use for this property will be the ones requested, which are office financial service, professional office space, government land use, and other use would have to come back before the planning board and the town council. The subject property is in harmony with the use request since the property has road frontage on Western Avenue. As we stated on January 27, 2026, the TRC did meet. They recommend approval with the staff development conditions for this conditional rezoning. Mr. Chairman, I will yield to you, sir, so that we can have the owner, Mr. Hurt, come up to address the board and answer any questions for the board, and then we will go into the public hearing, sir.
Very good, sir. Mr. Hurt, if you would come forward, please.
Mr. Hurt, with your knowledge, do you agree and accept that this staff report was presented as accurate to the best of your knowledge, sir?
Yes, sir.
What's turn over to you, Mr. Chairman?
Mr. Hurt, your name for the record and your address.
Michael J. Hurt, 110 Timberlake Drive, Youngsville, North Carolina.
Thank you, sir. Go right ahead.
I mean, this is, we've got a commercial tenant, somebody interested in renting the property. And so, I think the intent of what we were trying to do was missed. And so this just kind of clarifies what we were trying to do.
Would it be improper to ask you what kind of tenant it is? And if so?
I can't, it's O&I.
Okay. Okay. I respect that.
That's really all I got.
Any questions for Mr. Hurt for the board? Any questions for Mr. Hurt? Thank you, sir. Sean, do we have a sign-up sheet for this section?
We do, sir. Let me present it to you.
Yes, sir, please.
Mr. Hurt will stay here on standby.
Thank you. I was going to ask him to do the same.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Stand up?
No, sir.
No, sir, I'm just asking if she would remain in case we have questions that come out of the public hearing. This time I'll open a public hearing from 608 Western Avenue regarding conditional zoning 2026-04. Sean, also on page 1 of this, that date also needs to be removed to the 24th.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr.
Very
Chairman.
good. Patricia Butler, please come forward.
It's Patrick.
Mr. Butler, if you please come forward. I apologize, like I have this whole meeting for names.
That's all right. This is about the 4th time I've been called Patricia. It's,
I'm hoping it wasn't by me, sir.
No, 2020, I was up here speaking a couple of times as well. My message, and thank you for allowing me to come speak.
Sure.
And I want to say I appreciate the fact that Mr. Hurt was able to come back with some conditional zoning, because the first time I talked in February seemed like a yes/no, very limited situation. My message is going to be very succinct. I lived at 525 Westwood Circle. I've lived there for 33 years, raised a family. I like the town of Nashville. We moved here. I grew up in Rocky Mount over on Paul Street way back in the day. Went to Williford School. And I've seen what compressed, or whatever you want to call it, high-rise apartments do to an area. Brings in a lot of crime, a lot of things that are undesirable to a residential area. I'm okay with whatever. I'm an American. I think people should have the right to do whatever they want with their property, as long as it doesn't impact the value of other people's property. I don't want to see apartments built on that property. And I will come back time and time again to make that point. The one thing that kind of sticks out in my head, I always go kind of legalese when I read letters, and the question I had was, it says for government use. And in my head, as the little bell goes off, does that allow someone to build apartments? Which is what I don't want to see. Commercial stuff that I hear about, that's fine with me. I just don't want to see a bunch of residents on a 9-acre property in a flood zone clamoring in and out of my neighborhood, which is exactly what will happen, because the town owns that piece of property at the bottom of Westwood Circle back when Floyd came through.
Right.
So that's it. My message is simple. I just want to be implicit about not seeing apartments on that parcel. Other things are fine with me.
That was some of the very discussion that we had at last meeting.
Yes, sir.
Am I correct? As currently written, if approved, there will be no apartments, no townhouses, no condos. It is a single structure only. It cannot be changed later without coming back for the full.
That is correct. Yes, sir. Either professional office space or government land use, and government land use is pretty much if the Nash County Sheriff Departments, Nash County Building Inspections, Town of Nashville, Parks and Recreation want to move over there, it can be open for us to rent it out and utilize it for
So
space.
basically municipality.
Municipality work, yes, sir, exactly.
Well, if we put an apartment over there.
Bring it on. I doubt y'all be walking through my yard at 9 o'clock at night.
You gotta go across the ditch to get to your yard.
Well, you gotta walk through some bad areas here.
Thank you for your comments and being heard.
Yes, sir, thank you, I
Yes,
appreciate
sir.
y'all's patience with us, thank you.
Now I can get this next one right. I think Joe McCarter. There we go, I got one.
Don't be Josephine.
Yes, sir, Mr. McCarter.
Good evening, gentlemen. My name is Joe McCarter, 526 Westwood Circle, Nashville. My thing, same like Patrick said, we're going to make sure there's no apartment buildings over there. I've been living there now probably as long as Patrick, about 11 years shy. And if it was ever to happen over there, I'd have to try to leave. I'm like Patrick, I moved from Rocky Mountain over here to Westwood Circle. I had a sister lived over there. I go over there and how quiet it was over there. I don't even think a whole lot of people know where Westwood Circle is. It's a nice, quiet little community. We want to keep it that way. And a lot of us can't afford to go nowhere. We just had a young couple just moved in on Westwood Circle. We're trying to make sure they stay there with us. When me and Patrick are gone, they'll be the old folks. And that's just the way we want it. And government use, land use is another question. I didn't really hear what they said. What does that mean as far as government use?
As if the planning board wanted to go use this in office, if the health department would use this in office, government use would mean something from the county, state, or city would use it as an office or a service building for them.
Right.
But again, no townhouse, no apartments, no high rise, no low rise.
All right, I appreciate your time, gentlemen.
Thank you for speaking, sir. Kenneth, and I'm going to let you help me with the last name.
Fly, think of the bug and add eat.
Kenneth Fly, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Fly.
Yes, sir. Kenneth Fly, 728 Westview Court. I'll be brief. As you know, I've stated here at every public meeting we've had for this property.
Yes, sir.
Myself and Michael Hurt just had a good conversation a while ago, and I will stand the record, no multi-story apartments. I will say for the record, I am in favor of what he's trying to do here right now. As long as he don't try to do no 3-story apartments, and I'm fine with him like renting it out to the town for something. And then also I know at one of the council meetings, they were talking about needing a new police station or something. I'm fine with a new police station going up there in the area in a few years, but right now, as long as there's no 3-story apartments, I'm fine with that, and the unity of the community stays, I'm good with that too.
Very good, sir. Thank you for being heard. I think it's Gene Johnson.
Good evening, gentlemen. Well, we are.
Your name and address,
Oh,
please.
Jean Johnson, it's 530 Westwood Circle.
Thank you.
I'm speaking on behalf of my son, his wife, our family. We just moved in there 2 months ago. We were not told about the meetings, we had no idea. We looked all over. I'm originally from Lynchburg, so I wanted to move down to the beautiful state of North Carolina when I come visit my son. And we looked everywhere for a home. We found the perfect home, picturesque, quaint little neighborhood on a circle, peaceful backyard, and now we hear that that's going to be disrupted. We're brokenhearted. We're devastated. We would have never bought that house had we heard that this was going to go on. So I just wanted to come tonight and just let y'all know I'm just disappointed that our backyard is literally going to be uprooted and something else is going to be there. Okay?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Anyone else would like to come forward? Anyone else?
Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Sandra Ladson, 721 Westview Court. Now, I've been in Nashville too for all of my life. I was born and raised here, okay? But the only thing I really have to say is, you know, like he said a few minutes ago, I didn't understand what they were saying, government land use, so I did have a question about that. And then what did he mean by professional office space, you know? But my main thing is, the street that I live on is a nice, quiet street. I feel safe over there, and I don't want, and I live alone, but I feel safe, but I do not want anything to come up over there that's gonna disrupt me feeling safe in a town too that I've been in all my life. I know we've had some situations and all going on, but I just want to stay family friendly. That's my biggest thing. I want our area to stay family friendly. So that's all I gotta say.
Thank you, that's a
Thank you for your
legitimate
time.
concern, thank you. Any more comments from the public? Public hearing is closed. Comments or questions to the staff or the applicant from the board?
We do have some recommendations also.
Go ahead with your recommendations.
The development recommendation for the conditional rezoning, certain property should only be requested, usually have been applied for, which is office financial service, professional office space. Pretty much professional office space is attorneys, realtors, insurance agents, doctors, dentists, stuff for those matters, notary public, or either government land use, as we stated, anything to deal with county, state, local government, municipality services can be used on the property. Prior to any change, the applicant must comply with the following permits, zoning permits. So if it is approved, the applicant already know he has to do this. Submit a zoning permit for whichever applicant who is going to utilize the property, whichever professional officer is going to utilize, submit a zoning permit to the town. If anything changes major, the applicant knows to bring that back to the TRC for us to review. If anything needs to be amended, it comes to the planning board and town council. So after these two uses, if they are approved by the council and the planning board finds it favorable, if the applicant decides to add another use to the property, he'll have to go through the process again. For this one, we thought it would be more simpler just to keep the conditions simple, what the applicant would do on a normal day-to-day basis of, if it's approved, submit the zoning permit, we review the submission of what he's applying for, what professional office space, if it meets the orders, we approve it, and they go and run their business.
Okay, so to make sure I understand our options are, which is to approve as in on page 7 and 8, and with those 5 conditions, and that was favorable to council, and the reason council rejected this or suggested it not be brought is because, as it was before, the citizens complained about, it was open to a lot of things.
Yes, sir.
This closes that box.
Right, it only narrows down to the 2 things I've asked for.
Or 9, which removes those 5, or outright denies on page 10, is that correct?
That is correct.
Questions from the board? In that case, I call for a motion for either approval with the 5 conditions, approval without the 5, or denial outright. Walter?
As last time, I approve with those conditions.
Have a motion to approve with conditions. Do I have a second? Mr. Strickland seconded. Those in favor say aye. Aye. Is approved 4-0. Meeting's to you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We will present that to the council at the March 30th meeting. Mr. Hurt, we will send something out to you, sir, let you know the planning board did approve with those 5 conditions. And we know that you already agreed to those conditions that were already presented.
What else do we have?
Mr. Chairman, that's all we have tonight, sir. We can call for adjournment, and also announcement of the next meeting will be April 28th.
Okay, here's your sign-up sheets. I'd like to thank everyone coming out. Your voice is certainly important to us, as you could tell tonight. I ask for a motion to adjourn. Mr. Strickland makes such a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Harper said, all in favor? Signify by standing up.